And welcome to the Retirement Blueprint Show. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Tim Lofton. He's the creator of the Retirement Blueprint. Tim, how are you today?
Good, Cynthia.
It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
I'm so excited to be here, and I love, again, that we're in this new studio.
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, I'm just, it's, for the viewers at home, you can't see this, but we don't have cameramen anymore. It's like this whole automated camera systems, and it's so different than what we've done for the last year or so.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's totally different. And again, it's just amazing to me. Every time that we're together, we're talking about how many people have been coming in to sit with you, to talk to you about the Retirement Blueprint. So I have to ask you, Tim, before we get started on the show today, how busy has it been in the office for you lately?
Well, I mean, it's funny, you know, we've shared the statistic a million times. There's 7 people every minute of every day turning 65 years old. And so there is literally a limitless supply of people that need help, that need what we do, which is quite simply listening. That's our biggest job, is to hear what people have to say, for them to paint us that picture of what they want their retirement to look like, things that they're concerned about, things that they're worried about. I mean, Cynthia, one of the biggest problems that we see is people come into the office worried about things that they shouldn't be worried about. And the flip side's true as well. Sometimes they're not concerned about things they should. And so, you know, a lot of times when we sit down with people, we're helping eliminate things that maybe they shouldn't even be concerned about, that's keeping them up at night. But sometimes we replace those with things that maybe they hadn't thought of. But that's the whole thing, right? Information is power, right? Absolutely. The more information that they learn, then that equips them to make decisions.
Absolutely.
I will also say this, one of my favorite quotes: information without transformation isn't a thing.
Say that again.
Information without transformation isn't a thing. So when they come to the office, they don't know what they don't know, right?
Okay.
But once they're equipped with that information, if they don't use that information to transform and to make changes and to adapt and to create their perfect retirement, then that's on them.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Tim, last week's episode was so amazing that we didn't get through all of the topics from the internet. So let's talk about that a little bit today, because obviously when people are Googling for information, they're looking for information on how to retire. So I was able to print out some common questions that are found on the internet. So as you know, we got through a lot of those last week, but like I mentioned, we still have a lot more to dive into today. Are you ready to tackle some of those?
I am. We are here to keep people from Googling their way to disaster.
Good point, because that can easily happen, actually. Just try to Google when you have a headache and see what comes up. It's terrible. Okay, this is a very interesting question that I found online. I have read a lot online that annuities are risky investment, illiquid, high fees. Thoughts on that, Tim?
I could probably find you 500 articles that say all of those things.
Really?
And they are easy to find. And so, missold? Absolutely. Misrepresented? Definitely. Do the wrong people get the wrong solution in the annuity world? Without a doubt. Bad investment? No way. There's $500 billion a year going into annuities. Plus, every pension is an annuity. And so there's no way that wealthy people out there are putting $500 billion a year into a product that's horrible. Like there's no, that's just not a possibility.
Okay.
I mean, you have the ability to gain tax deferral. You have the ability for a no fee, no cost growth indexing option. You have the potential for a long-term care benefit that, other than that long-term care benefit, they may not qualify for any other type of long-term care benefit. You have the ability to participate in market risk. You have the ability to eliminate market downside. It's a great bond alternative. There's so many great things. The problem is that, like I started out, missold, misunderstood, wrong people getting the wrong product, Just because it's a great idea and there's $500 billion a year going into it, doesn't mean that every viewer at home should have one.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to start with the plan. The retirement blueprint was created around the idea of doing the planning. The planning will tell you what you need to own. So the key component there is to figure out, is it the right thing for you? It's not, is an annuity good or bad for you? It's, what do you need in retirement? That will lead you to the right solution. It might be an annuity, it might be something else. But you have to remember that the internet is based on, Google searches are based on creating clickbait. So if annuities are one of the widest held investments in the United States, if I say they're bad, what do people do? Click on it, because they own one.
Yeah.
When they click on it, their information's being captured so that they can then be prospected to in the future.
Wow.
And it's not just annuities, it's anything. Anything that's widely used, held product-wise, if I put a bad article about it, I'm more apt to click on it to learn about why it's a bad thing.
That's interesting.
So you're basically becoming prey to people that want to turn around and sell you something.
Wow.
Susie Orman, look at Susie, right? You know, we forget that these people are in the business of selling things. There's a great YouTube thing that the folks at home can Google, where Susie's basically on CNBC or one of the talk shows, and she's talking about how bad annuities are. Guess what she just wrote a book on?
Annuities.
Annuities. Why did she write a book on annuities? Because everybody owns one. So if I write a book that says annuities are bad and then go on national television and tell people annuities are bad, if you don't believe me, read my book. What's she going to do?
Sell books.
Sell books. And so anyway, she's actually on, they're taking live calls in, and she says, you know, annuities are bad, they never make sense, they're horrible for everyone, and on and on and on. And so she like totally sets this up. The caller calls in and says, well, you know, maybe I did something wrong. My husband rolled his 401k over into an annuity, and then the market went down 40%, and we didn't lose any money. And she's just kind of like silent. She's like, well, in that case, it makes sense. You know, I mean,
interesting.
Don't forget that you're being sold to on TV. We're not doing that, by the way. We're not selling you anything.
Yes, exactly.
We're simply giving you information. But for the most part, when people are interviewed, that's what they're doing.
That is interesting, Tim. Oh my gosh, thank you for shedding some light on that, because I think people in the viewing audience are going to be very interested in what you just shared. Absolutely.
Look for balance.
Yes.
Look for balance. There's good and bad with everything that somebody owns. There's a good thing and a bad thing with it.
Yeah.
If you're only being told the good thing, you've got the wrong person telling you about it.
Well, Tim, we're about ready to go to a commercial break, and I know that you have a very special offer to present to the viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is today.
So for our viewers at home, you know, I created the retirement blueprint for one reason and one reason only: to help people plan for retirement. Not just help them, but to help them navigate to it and through it. To have a successful retirement, the thing that they envision retirement looking like. We want to come alongside you and help create that for you. We want to build a retirement blueprint for you, and we want to do life with you. That's what we do. That's what we've been doing for the last 30 years. We'd love the opportunity to hear your story. Give us a call.
Tim, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, that phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 855-684-3485. We know that you have a lot of questions for Tim about how to plan your perfect retirement. And as he mentioned earlier, he's there to listen. He'd like the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better and to learn about what your goals and your dreams are for retirement. We're going to take a very short commercial break. That phone number to call to reach Tim once again is 855-684-3485. Don't go anywhere. I have more internet questions when we return.
Hello, Dayton. This is Tim Lofton from Dayton's premier financial show, The Retirement Blueprint. If you are on the cusp of retirement or recently retired, please tune in every Sunday at 10 a.m. after Meet the Press on NBC Channel 2 as we discover how to plan and thrive in retirement. See you on Sunday, Dayton. We're passionate about making sure our clients live stress-free in retirement. We do that with the Retirement Blueprint. It's our trademark planning process designed to help you navigate to and through retirement. When you're nearing retirement, it's essential that you have a written plan and know exactly how that plan will work for you. Let us show you how 27 years of experience can make a difference in your plan.
And welcome back to the Retirement Blueprint Show. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Tim Lofton. He is the creator of the Retirement Blueprint. Tim, a great show that we're having today, obviously talking about some internet questions and how you shouldn't be Googling when it comes to planning your retirement.
Well, not just Googling, but making sure that you don't take what's written on that screen as all the information.
Absolutely, absolutely. They need a seasoned professional to help guide them through that process for sure. So I'm going to jump right back in only because I don't want to miss out on any of our questions this week, but honestly, this is a great one. This one is, my kids will be able to take care of me later. Why would I need long-term care insurance?
And that is absolutely a solution. And we have clients, we have a client that actually built on a addition onto their kid's house and paid for it. And that's the plan. If something happens to him, in this case, his daughter is a nurse. She's got a medical background. The husband works from home. It's a perfect setup for them. But they've planned this out. They've thought it through. And they've spent a lot of time doing that. And I think that's the first part. The second part is that you need to understand the dynamic. We had a client that was actually an attorney friend of mine, and his grandmother moved in with them after his grandfather passed away. And she lived downstairs, was very independent, everything was fine. And she was dead set on not going to a nursing home, and understandably so. That was something that the family had talked about and discussed and planned for. And it was fine up until dementia got to a point where she couldn't be left alone, and she needed 24-hour care. And the care needed surpassed the abilities that her kids had to be able to give her. And so it was a very complicated scenario where she ended up having to go to a nursing home, and everybody had a relationship blow up over it.
Wow.
And so it does work. Interestingly enough, Cynthia, in most countries, other than the United States, in most countries, that's how it's done. Families live together. When the parents get to a certain age, they move in with the kids. Kids take care of them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
That is a very common way of doing things.
Yeah.
The United States is not that way. I'm not saying that no one does it. I'm saying it's very rare for it to happen. It's even rarer for it to work out. So the idea of, is that a solution? Definitely. Can you walk through it? Yes. But we want to spend some time with people really talking through, what that might look like, and not talking about when, mom and dad can live downstairs and take care of themselves, but when mom and dad are living downstairs and can't take care of themselves. What's the plan? What's the cost? How will you navigate that? That way that when you start that relationship, everybody's on the same sheet of music. And it's not a, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and then one day you're like, you know what, this is too much and we can't.
Yeah.
You need to talk through all the different stages of aging.
Absolutely.
And that's a key component to that working out.
Tim, thank you so much. This is another great point that was brought up on the internet. I can invest on my own. I've saved a lot. Why do I need a financial advisor?
Great question. We meet with people every day that have done it themselves, and they've done a great job. It's not uncommon for our wealth management team to sit down with a prospective client and look at what they have and say, you know what, this is pretty good. Like, we would have built something very similar to this if we did it ourselves. The difference is this, Cynthia. We're talking about people transitioning from the accumulation phase to the distribution phase. And we have found that there's a lot of people that are very successful in the accumulation phase. They can invest, they can grow the money, they make good investment decisions, they can take the emotion out of the ups and downs. But we're past that. When we retire, now we're in the distribution phase. Our goal is not running out. It's no longer how do we grow it, but it's how do we not run out. And the problem is when we're in that distribution phase, if we're wrong, if somebody makes a mistake, you're not going back to work.
Yeah.
And so there's a transition that usually takes place with some, all, or part of those dollars where they say, you know what, we need a pilot. Like, we still want to be the co-pilot, we still want to be involved, but we need a pilot, we need a coach to help us make sure that we're doing the right things. And that's really where the planning piece comes in and takes that top rung of the ladder and it pushes down the ideas of wealth management and some of those other things back down to where they need to be, so that the plan, the distribution phase of retirement, is truly being taken care of in the proper way.
I can't even imagine trying to do that on your own, Tim. So thank you so much for shedding some light on that, because that would be very scary.
Well, it is for most people. You know, usually when we talk to somebody that's doing it themselves, there's one story that we hear over and over and over again. And that is, you know, Tim, we used to have somebody. We hired an advisor in 1999, and then we invested with them, and then they lost all our money in 2001 when the bubble burst, right?
Yeah.
And so we did it ourselves for a while, and then we decided we're going to give an advisor another shot again, and so we gave them money in 2007, and then the same thing happened, and they lost all again in 2008. So they basically set themselves up for failure. They never actually experienced somebody long term. They happened to invest in two of the worst possible times they could have, took that as life experience of how it's always been, and then that's how they ended up doing it themselves. And so, of course, the flip side is true. They took the money away from that advisor when things were down, and then it went up, and so they're geniuses.
Yeah.
And they, so it's all about timing in most cases. So this isn't whether or not somebody can do it or not. It's whether or not long term, does your wife know the plan? When I'm talking to a husband that he's kind of taken over the reins of that, and he's running it, and he's got it all figured out and doing a great job, right? This isn't that they're not doing a good job. But that's my first question. If something happens to you, does your wife know what to do? Does she know how to take this? And so you're not going to have a relationship. There's no airbag for her.
Yeah.
There's nobody that knows your story, that knows what you're trying to accomplish. She's got to go out and figure that out after you're gone. Because one thing I'll tell you, statistically, the person that handles the money is the first to go. That's not a girl-guy thing. It just seems to be, I am always sitting across the table with a deer in the headlights.
Wow.
And that's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't need us, she might.
Yeah.
And so isn't that worth at least starting to develop a relationship? I mean, that's the question.
Well, Tim, we have to take a very short commercial break, but I know that you want to give a message to the viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is before we go to commercial.
Sure. So for our viewers at home, it's simple. I just got done talking about a scenario that's very real, that probably pertains to you. If you're doing this yourself and your spouse doesn't understand your plan, why don't you take an hour and come sit down with us? You share our plan with us. We'll help share your plan with your spouse. Everybody's on the same sheet of music. And maybe there's something there that we can make a little better. Don't you owe it to yourself and to your spouse to know that now? Take the time. It's worth it for you. Give us a call.
Tim, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 855-684-3485. Tim would love to hear from you. He would love to hear about what your hopes, your goals, and your dreams are for planning your retirement. Let him design that retirement blueprint that suits your needs. Again, we're going to take a very short commercial break, but when I come back, I do have time for a few more internet questions, so please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Tim Lofton, And for 27 years, we've been helping people just like you navigate to and through retirement with our trademark process, the Retirement Blueprint. Many of our clients are extremely concerned today with the increasing federal debt and a potential for a significant increase in taxes. If you share these or other retirement concerns, give us a call today for a no obligation complimentary consultation. Let us plan your tomorrow today. Retirement is about choosing where you want to go and mapping out a plan to get there. That's why I created the Retirement Blueprint. Of course, things don't always go according to plan. Come learn how our team can help you avoid potential hazards and find alternate routes. We're here to do life with you and share your journey. Let us blueprint your life to keep you on track to make sure you get the most out of retirement. Are you on the road to success? Call us today for a complimentary review to find out. Let us plan your tomorrow today.
And welcome back to the Retirement Blueprint Show. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Tim Lofton. He is the creator of the Retirement Blueprint. Tim, a wonderful show we're having today, talking about some top questions from the internet and how people should not be planning their retirement, specifically looking at internet articles only. Okay.
That's great advice.
It really is great advice. I totally agree. So this is a great point that we found on the internet, if you will. It says, retirement, I'll never retire. Thoughts on that, Tim? I'll never retire.
Well, I think the key is defining what retirement is. And so we've talked about this on previous episodes. We define retirement as going to work because you choose to, not because you have to. That's retirement. It doesn't have anything to do with rocking chairs, front porches, and golfing. It's that you are independent, that any day you could choose to stop doing what you're doing and do something else or nothing at all. Once we get to that point, it typically makes what we do special. It's enriching to know that you're choosing to be there every day. We're not here to tell people to retire early or when they should retire. If you're doing something you love, keep doing it. You know, longevity is based on a couple of key factors. One is just the general increasing of life expectancy, which is based on human interaction, having purpose, creating something, being depended upon, being part of a team, working towards a common goal. All of those things are typically captured going to work. Yeah. And so we find a lot of life fulfillment through work. Now, I will say that we have conversations every day. I mean, you know, in this area, we have a lot of clients that work out at the base, out at Wright-Patterson. Okay. And so, you know, a lot of those folks have got their 30 years in. They're ready for full retirement, and they're 50, 55, and they're not done yet. And so we do a lot of planning and counseling around the idea of, you know, what's next? What's that next thing? Now you have this retirement income that you can tap into. Yeah. You don't need as much income now. So what do you love? What would kind of reignite your passions? And so that is really where we're trying to get people to go when it comes to retirement, is not when picking a date, but being able to pick a date. You gain that flexibility by saving and having a plan. And so not retiring is not an excuse to not save.
Okay, okay. I have a question for you, Tim, talking about planning for retirement and being happy, if you will. Does it ever depend on the time of year that someone retires? I read a study that said that if you retire in the spring or the summer, that your chances of being happier long term are greater versus if you retire in the fall or winter. Is that true? Have you heard that? It's not on our list.
No, I have not, Cynthia, but that totally makes sense to me. I know I've read studies about different states, people retiring in different states, Arizona or Florida, where there's more sunshine. Yeah. And the idea that there's an increase potentially in life expectancy because, here in Ohio, today it's raining, it's cloudy outside, it's, kind of humdrum. So we have some of those gray days, and I wonder, if I was out in Arizona or in Florida and I was retired and it's sunshiny every day, would that feel better, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I can totally see that. That's a really interesting thought.
Oh, good, good. Well, I don't want to miss this final question. I think we have time for just this one. I've read about the 4% rule in retirement. Why do I need a retirement plan?
Excellent. So the 4% rule, for viewers at home, if you've not heard this, is kind of this idea that whatever you've saved, that you can basically take a 4% withdrawal every year and live on it forever and not run out, and everything will be fine. And that's based on a lot of data and a lot of studies on Monte Carlo simulations and other things that we've talked about on previous shows. And it's not right or wrong. What I will tell you is that there's times that it works, and there's historically times that it has not. I wrote a white paper a few years ago on the 4% rule, kind of discussing the times that it doesn't, because the times that it does work obviously aren't a concern for people.
Right.
It works. You know, one of the dangers that we see with any type of, percentages, and when it comes to planning, is that life doesn't always work that way. It says, what if I take a 4% withdrawal rate, what is my growth rate? What is the inflation rate? And so those are all variable numbers that we don't know the answers to. And so you're creating the idea of, if these percentages work, there's a higher probability of something happening. I like to look at it in a way of, what if it doesn't?
Yeah.
What if it doesn't work out? What's our plan then? I think having that answer is more important than relying on probability scales and saying, well, it should work, and then these few decades it did work, but in these decades it didn't, and I'm going to cross my fingers and hope I get the right ones.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100% it makes sense. Well, Tim, I can't believe we only have a little over a minute left in our show this week, and I know that you'd like to give some guidance and words of wisdom to the viewers, if you will. Let's talk about what that would be.
Sure. Dayton, everybody that's watching the show right now is going to do one thing one day. That's retire. Your retirement, when I say the word retirement, I know that there's a picture in your head of what you think it's going to look like. What we do is make that pick up the phone, give us a call, 855-684-3485. Let us take that picture for you, turn it into numbers, put it on that big screen in our conference room, and figure out how to make it work so that you get the retirement that you deserve, the retirement that you've worked so hard for all these years. You want to provide for your family, you want to take care of your spouse, you want to leave money to your grandkids, here's your chance. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We look forward to hearing from you soon. All the best.
Tim, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, thank you for spending time with us. That number again is 855-684-3485. Take care now.